You've seen him in Birth of a Nation, the movie Loving, the show Atlanta. I think last week I seen him on The Walking Dead shooting zombies. I'm pretty sure I did. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Chris Greene. Let's go.
How many actors do I have in here? Don't be shy. Okay, let me ask that again. How many actors do I have in here? Raise your hand high. There you go. It starts with having the confidence to be able to say that. Always label yourself as that. If you acted on something and you got $1, I don't care if it was 50 cents, $500, whatever. If you got paid to be on stage in front of a camera, you are an actor. Because I tell you what, Uncle Sam ain't gonna be like, no, you're not an actor. He's gonna be like, yeah, let me get you made money off that? Okay, player, you got to file it on your taxes. So own it. That's the problem. A lot of people are scared to. And if you don't take yourself serious as an actor, you can't expect anybody else to. So you have to own it and be confident in your ability for that. Small correction, Birth of a Nation was not a big Hollywood production. A lot of people think it was. We had $8 million to shoot that movie. And considering some of the actors that we have in there, that's their salary demand for a movie.
Right.
Everybody took a pay cut because they believed in the project. So I'd probably say the biggest production that I've worked on versus the smaller ones, the higher you climb up the ladder and more money that is invested, the less creativity seems to be involved. And I say that because they're on a budget as far as marketing-wise and time constraints, because they're always on a budget. Even Spielberg wants more money. They have a time constraint of where this has to be done by this time because they have to get these investors back. Opposed to, if somebody has like $2 million, a little bit more creativity can take place. They may have less time to do it, but it's like, okay, we can't spend any more money, so we have to figure out how to make this look as though we have a lot of money, that whole fake it till you make it kind of thing, right? So you get to play a little bit more as an actor, I think, on the smaller ones, but in either case, regardless of the size of the production that you're working on, for you actors that are going to go out there and start working and start training and stuff, when you get on set, I don't care if it's a student film. I don't care if you're working for Scorsese or Spielberg or Denzel or whoever. You have 3 things that you have to do as an actor. Show up on time, do your job, hang your clothes back up. That's it. I promise you, if you do those 3 things, you will continue to work in this industry because people will see that you are a professional, they see that you take it seriously, and then they'll want to work with you over and over again. And the thing about it is, it's nice if you can make friends with somebody on set, but remember, it's a job. You're not going to be friends with everybody at your job. You might find that one coworker that you could vibe with and hang with, but you're not hanging out with everybody more often than not because not everyone clicks. Don't take it personally. Again, acting is no different. You're there to come in and portray a character and do your job and then, get up out of there and leave a good taste in the producer or director or casting director's, mouth that, hey, we can hire you again. And don't touch any equipment. Yeah, that stuff's expensive. Don't touch anything. You see a camera falling, that's the camera guy's job. He got it. Let him get it because he sees it. He's keeping an eye on it. Trust it. And if it falls, insurance will cover it. But if you over there and you grabbing stuff, whatever, you can get hurt. A lot of people don't realize how hot those lights get. You can get electrocuted. Something might be connected in a way you don't know. So just stay out of the way. You do your thing and then go back to your holding and hang out. I know the instinct is to be helpful, but they got their jobs taken care of. So when you get on those bigger sets, absolutely stay in your lane. But that's pretty much it. I mean, the only difference other than the money is just the time aspect. Right. The less money you have, the less time you have. Right. But the more money you have, they still want to rush you because it's like, okay, we're on a deadline. This has to be out by October, or we're gonna have a problem or whatever. So that's the whole issue with that as far as the budgetary reasons.
Outside of the training, assuming you're prepared, assuming you put the work in, you're doing your grind, going on auditions, and this is for both of you. Yeah. Is it an actor's job to try, as you succeed, to try to find that, twitch or the way you move, the way you speak, to try to set you apart from everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, the way I approach my auditions, I try to be as natural as possible. But yes, I mean, obviously, this role that that you're auditioning for might not be anything like you. I mean, I'm not a murderer, but so for me, it's like I said earlier. It's like I study people. Okay. I study people both in real life. Gotcha. I studied you guys, and in TV. And so if I want to bring something a little bit different, I just kind of I read the scene, I read the character, I start making just small little character
mannerisms choices. And things like that?
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And then that just kind of goes from there and it builds. But I always try, and I mean, I recommend it as well, just to keep a little bit of yourself in there. Keep that natural.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't try and be like, oh my God, I must have a twitch just because. It's like, no.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, you answer.
I totally agree. It's art imitating life. So when you guys watch certain shows or certain movies, you stay and you watch or you draw to certain characters because they remind you of people that you already know, right? You know, I think everybody in this room can attest to that, or there's something that you can relate to with that character on screen. So as actors, what we have to do is we have to tap into that. One of the biggest things that I get told about is when people are like, man, that was so funny, man, reporters do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I did. I went on YouTube. When I found out I had the audition, I went on YouTube and I was like, let me look up some of these mannerisms from these reporters. And it's so funny because reporters, it's almost like they have to be so fake that you don't even realize that it's fake. You know, and so I'm sitting there and I'm walking and just watching the gestures, and like every reporter does the same thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's reporter training school, but it's this whole thing. When you guys watch, when you go home and watch the news tonight, watch. Tonight on 12 News, like their head just can't sit still. And I'm sitting here watching, and I'm just like, why is this dude's head moving? Can he not sit still? Like, is he feeling all right? And so I started doing that, and Donald Glover, who's the creator of the show, Childish Gambino, for everybody in here who doesn't know him as Donald. I call him Donald, I ain't calling him, he's a grown man. I did that, and he noticed it, and he just looked at me, he was like, don't change that, because that wasn't in the script. And I was like, let me do this and see if he notices, and see what happens. And he loved it. And it was the thing of that came from somebody real. That wasn't made up. That was just me doing my research and seeing like these reporters like really. I kind of want to go to one outside of a station one day and just, hey man, why do y'all do? What is this? Right. This is like, are you nodding to somebody off camera? I don't understand. Go ahead. Yeah. So no, that's it. Really is the people watching, like Diana said, but also taking some of your personal experiences and relating to that, because at the end of the day, you guys go to the movies or you watch something on TV to escape your reality to come into ours. And that's our job, is to tell you a story to make you forget about your problems, whatever they may be, if they're big or small. You know, if you go to see a comedy, you want to laugh. You want to forget about what's going on. You want to laugh at something and feel good about it. If you go to see a drama, it's not necessarily that you want to feel sad. You just want to, there's something about you that wants to connect to, you saw the trailer and go, yeah, my love life was like that. I want to see how he or she got out of that. Or an amazing sports story. Like everybody loves a sports story. You know, everybody wants to go and see the underdog win, and it makes you feel good about, you know, yourself. So those actors have to tap into that truth and honesty.
Okay, great. I'm going to do like 3 more questions. I'm going to let these guys ask some questions, okay? What point do these guys need they need an agent?
So you're finding your agents or people that are going to help you out are going to be through your fellow classmates and your instructors. I tell my students the same thing. It's like when they get to a point where I think that they're ready, I'll work with them on their resumes if they have them, or I'll work with them on getting that started and then introducing them to agents. The thing about agents is they're business people. I mean, they're agents. It's just like an insurance agent. You know, you go to an insurance agent, they don't go, I like you, I'm going to give you some free insurance, man. Like, that's not going to happen. They go, I like you, I might give you a little discount, but you got some money, right? You're going to pay me. Because they're a third party. They have a job to do. They're soliciting a service from a major, company or for a major company. It's the same thing with a talent agent. You know, these casting directors contact them and go, okay, I need your best to fill this role so I can pass it along to the director or the head casting director. And they're not going to do that with somebody who may be really, really green or just starting out. Right. You know, there are those select few. There are all those people that come in there and it's like, you know what, we can work with them on set. They look perfect, and we just want to go ahead and have that happen. But for the most part, you have to back it up. You have to have something along the lines of skill. So taking a class, sometimes I know a lot of classes will have what they call showcases. And they'll have you do like a monologue or something, and you won't know it, but there'll be an agent sitting in the back, and they'll be watching, taking notes. There might be a casting director sitting in the back, and then they give what's called referrals. So that way, when you apply to be an agent, apply to an agency, then, oh yeah, I saw you in this acting class, you did a good job, let's come in and meet, and then you go from there. But I'd say starting out, don't even worry about that, because you got to get some things under your belt and be confident enough on stage or in front of the camera to go in and work to the point where you're getting paychecks, because again, people are paying for a product. You don't want a faulty product.
Not to say this any easier for getting the jobs, but do you see that the pool of jobs for the work that you're seeing everyone get has widened as far as minorities.
You know, they're here for honesty. They're not here for
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If I sat down and told everybody in here to write me a story about a little girl growing up in your neighborhood, you're going to write what you saw, what you reflected. Right. So most of these stories coming out of here are probably going to have a lot more black actors, you know, black actresses, a lot more females probably, you know, a lot more older people maybe. You know, it's going to be chopped up. But you go to Beverly Hills and tell somebody, write your reflection, you're going to get Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? You're going to get higher class. You might get, you know, a little bit less diversity in there. So that's all they're doing is they're getting commissioned to write what they know. And these people write what they know. So that's why you take a show like, you know, Queen Sugar, for example. You know, Ava DuVernay is writing what she's experienced. You know, you take somebody like Ryan Coogler. You know, this is why he was able to pull together the cast he was for Black Panther, because where this dude grew up in Oakland. You know what I mean? But then you take somebody like Judd Apatow, even though I think his comedies are funny, but it's majority white people. You got that one token black dude in there, but it's still funny because it's his reality. So I think even though more people are auditioning, I find that the roles are still going towards men and you know, more so white men. But then it's just like, then the females are like, okay, we open up for females, but then you're seeing not that many people of color as far as females getting it. So that's the sad part about it. But I think because of shows like, you know, Queen Sugar and Jane the Virgin and Fresh Off the Boat, these people that are writing specifically for their culture and for their people, it's like now it's starting to open up a lot of avenues. I will say she has it a lot worse than I do, because on the flip side of, even if you take race out of it, majority of the roles are written for men. So, you know, most of the female roles are written, they want, you know, the pretty, the sexy, the sweet, you know, they're not writing for realistic females, in my opinion. So it's hard to see that on TV. So that's why everybody makes a big deal about How to Get Away with Murder, and why Viola thought it was very important for her to do the scene in the first season where she takes her wig off and she takes her makeup off. She was like, that needed to open the door for real people to be on the screen.
So for me, drama is what I tend to kind of go more for. I mean, I love comedy, but when I see dramatic roles for women, it's always the victim, and I want to see more of like the powerful, you know, strong woman that's just leading everybody. Let's have a female president type of thing, but that's very uncommon right now, and that's why I'm an advocate for people creating their own content, because we need that. We need the minorities to kind of raise up, and let's, like, you know, people want to see this. People want to see a strong female role. People want to see a black actor be the lead and not just the token black guy, you know? So
because Atlanta's number 2 right now. LA is number 1 for film production, and then Atlanta's number 2, which is beating out New York, which is great because that creates more jobs for people wanting to be in here. But then that also creates more jobs for local businesses, those of you that own local businesses,
caterers,
that cater, that provide clothing, that provide music services, that provide camera services, you know what I mean, that provide IT support. All these productions need that, and they're flying people in from LA because the infrastructure isn't built for here. So the more you support and put the money back in your community, then they don't have to fly people from LA. It's like, nah, we can take care of that. You go and bring the movie here, we got you. And that creates more jobs. So, you know, the best advice I really honestly can give anybody if you're thinking about getting in the industry as far as acting is, do not treat this as any different from any other job, right? You know, just because, you know, you cut a frog open in biology class, I'm not going to let you perform surgery on me. I'm sorry, you look trustworthy, but nah, if you didn't get your doctorate from a medical school, you know, they're not going to let you in the OR and cut anybody open. It's the same thing as being an actor. They're not going to give you this lead role or this role to portray on screen if they think it's going to cause their show to lose ratings or the movie to flop or the show to get canceled, which you're seeing a lot of, even though a lot of these shows are coming up. I mean, you guys have seen it. You probably watched the show and then you're like, next season, where's the show? It got canceled because the viewership wasn't there. And that doesn't mean that the show was necessarily bad. It just wasn't strong enough to compete with the people who are professional that have been doing it for so long to keep your attention, you know. And that's, as you continue to build that, that's why more and more shows go on. That's exactly why Shonda Rhimes owns a day of the week, because everybody started watching Scandal and that took off. Then everybody started watching How to Get Away with Murder, but that started with Grey's Anatomy. If she hadn't honed her skills on that show, you wouldn't have got Scandal, you wouldn't have got How to Get Away with Murder. And obviously you see the actors that are on that show. They're not just pulling anybody. They're pulling actors and actresses who have been doing it and in the game for a minute.
We're going to go to Q&A right now, but before I do, thanks, Diana, for showing up to our spotlight. Chris, appreciate it as always,
No problem.
man.
Thank you, man.
Much
Appreciate
success
you.
to both of you.